Hello, welcome. Ashley and Bella here, live to Facebook and YouTube. Hello. Today on What's Alive, we wanted to talk about the 64 doors and the 64 archetypes that live within these doors. So, if you're new to the Unlock Your Design universe, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you have been with us since the beginning or pretty recently, thank you so much for joining us again. By now, you may or may not be familiar with our 64 Doors project. Bella and I are both avid, I guess we are guides, but we're also, we're enthusiasts of the Gene Keys and human design systems. We also like astrology as well. And so when me and Bella came together, some time ago, I had this idea of having 64 doors, and behind each of the doors, they had information about Gene Keys and human design. And as me and Bella started to work together, they kind of transformed into these archetypes. And we started to bring through archetypal language and giving them a personality and bringing through their highest qualities and helping people connect to these personified inner archetypes that live within you. All of them live within you. The gates are the same. The human design gates are the same as the gene keys, are the same as the I Ching hexagrams, and they all live within the astrology wheel as well. So everything's interconnected. So why wouldn't we bridge all this information together and kind of birth all these different archetypes and have these archetypal energies come through so that you can meet them and have conversation with them and learn about them and know that this personality is also within you. And you are a compilation of all kinds of different inner archetypes, inner personalities. And that's what makes you unique. Yeah. Did you want to share about the 64 doors or anything?
With the types, I guess it's what I always say, they expand our awareness because it's a different approach, and it's a custom we can take on, and it's another way of thinking about the I Ching, about human design, about gene keys. It gives us it expands the awareness, and then the whole feeling into the archetypes. It's also, it feels like we always speak about the sacred union between awareness and embodiment. You get your awareness expands, a new way of understanding the gates, the hexagrams, and the gene keys, and then also this play with them, the flow with a more feminine way of feeling into it. So for me, the approach that we have is so holistic, and I think that from people that work with us, whether it's in our groups or one-on-one, I think we hear that all the time, like the confidence that they find after having worked for a while, both in themselves because they know themselves, but also when they go out in the world and they can relate to other people with this background, of knowing who they are, and often also with the curiosity for clients and in collaborations, they actually dare to ask for the birth date, and they make the charts. For me, there is so much empowerment in the way that the archetypes have come in, and it seems like they have become people's allies.
Yeah, you have 64 different allies. And whether you have the archetypes defined and all of them defined in your chart or not, you have them all because the transits bring them alive as well within you. So right now we're in the transit of the 26. And if you don't have it, it is activated in you because the sun is activating it. So you will be feeling that. And if you have the 44, not the 26, it's making this channel. And now suddenly you have access between your splenic center and your heart center, your will center. And that channel is going to help you, find your allies, and then also be able to know how to share from your heart, how to market from your heart, how to sell, how to use that confidence, that willpower, that ability to just transmit that. This is about your own personal transmission and being able to share that with your people. So now is the perfect time for you to be able to use the 26, which we call the hypnotist, to be able to transmit your message with that 44 if you have it. And I think that with it being in the codon ring of light, there's a bunch of light codes pouring into your body, coming, activating your DNA. So it's a beautiful time for creativity and expression of those light codes and seeing what wants to come through you and bringing your own transmission into the world. So Richard had a transmission, Ra had a transmission, but you have a transmission. And so when you're able to connect to these archetypes, they're going to rally together with you. Like Bella said, they're your allies, and they're going to help you bring what's in you outside of you, because we came here to relate. We came here for relationships. No man is an island. We're not here by ourselves. We get to interact and communicate with other people. And I think that that's why the archetypes are so powerful, because we so want to relate with another person. We so want to be in communion with another person. And so when we have 64 different people in our archetypes that we get to commune with, we know that, oh my gosh, this is within me. I am that. I am the hypnotist. I am the alchemist. I am whatever it is. And so when you can relate and identify with it, you start to own it and you start to have confidence in your expression.
And even when it comes to incarnation cross or activation sequence, I feel like knowing your 4 archetypes, it really gives the flavor of you. And then I also believe that it's important to see, it's also kind of your programming. So you want to, I was thinking about people that have the 45, the 26, which is the sun and the earth right now, and they have then the 36 and the 6 on the other side. And I'm like thinking about people I know with that cross and kind of the turbulence, but also the beauty of how they can relate to emotions. And then the very tribal feeling with the 45 and the 26. And I think it's important too, like when you know that, to be able to say, okay, this is my programming. This is kind of what I'm here to live out, 70% of who I am in this life, if we take the incarnation cross in your specific profile. And at the same time, it's like, okay, this is the costume I was given, but what am I beyond that? What's more than that? If I take off this kind of programming of living this out, what more is possible? So I also feel like instead of confining us and making us smaller, it gives us an option to explore that we've come to explore, but also say, it doesn't define my soul, it doesn't define my spirit, it doesn't actually possibly even define my destiny. And that's when none of these systems become a limit. And I think what we do in Unlock Your Design, it's really that. Ashley and I were on a call right before, and Ashley was speaking about the brackets on our creativity, that, you know, setting brackets on our creativity, our creative spark, is not going to help us. And that's, if there's one aim that we have, it is to not be defined by human design, gene keys, and even astrology completely. But when we weave them, we do have an option of seeing the magic, and also kind of throwing that language in the rubbish bin and be like, this is my expression and creativity in the world. I don't have to always tie it to a number or a hexagram or a profile.
Yeah. And we often get caught up, especially if you're like really identifying with these systems of like, of identifying, oh, that gene key, or we're speaking in code in a way, but then we lose the ability to authentically connect and relate to people that don't know these systems. So essentially we are separating and isolating other people that don't know about it. So there comes a time where you have to transcend these systems and just own who you are. It's like, do you have enough permission to be who you are? And these are permission slips. It's like, okay, get to know this one. It's like, wow, I was always like that. It's like, okay, well then let go of what you actually aren't. And then you get to show up in the world authentically as yourself. And you're starting to have these conversations with people where you don't need to bring in, oh, I'm saying this because this is my blah, blah, blah. And my son and all. It's like, let's not confuse people. Like, we want to relate with the most amount of people as possible. It's like, we're here for relationships. So don't try to like speak a foreign language to somebody else. To know it for yourself is for yourself. And if somebody else is excited about it, then of course they're going to dive into it and you'll be able to relate. But we don't want to box ourselves into human design community, gene keys community. We want to expand outside of that. And we want to bring our authenticity and creativity to the world and share the mastery that we've gained from these systems, which is beautiful. It's like, this is our potential and possibility. And even connecting to those acidic frequencies, that could possibly be what's possible. That could possibly be what's possible. And Richard doesn't exactly know what is in store in the cities. You get to uncover that. All of these are just theories and hypothesis based on experience, but everybody gets to plug in and commune with these archetypes, and you may bring through and out something that has never been talked about or by the teachers, by the gurus. It's like, you are your own guru. Claim it, own it, and let these systems kind of bring you back to yourself so that you can guide yourself instead of making these systems be the end all be all for you. And then the brackets come. I don't have that gate. I can't, that's not me. Really? So Yeah.
And I would say one thing that's been so powerful, and this is the third year. So we are coming to the end of the calendar year. And this is the third time that Ash and I go around the wheel. So we are actually allowing the archetypes, even before we even call them archetype, we were allowing the transit, the sun transit, to guide us. And what I would say, if you don't know where to start with human design and gene keys, I would say come with the archetypes, let them guide you. Each of them are going to guide you for 5.7 days, because there are 365 days in a year, and we go through all the archetypes in a year. So you have like almost on a weekly basis a new archetype. So if you learn everything you can about that gate, hexagram, archetype, gene key in that little time, we have a lot of free resources on the website. We have a door that contains like so many things that we created last year, and we also have an embodiment course where we go in. If you come in the transit, there is also a call where we are sharing experiences. We are sometimes going into the shadows, sometimes we are really expanding on the gift. We are intuitively communing and exploring the archetype. And if you yeah, and you can also, if you're too late for the ones that you want to be in, if you like to do this, you could also go back and get them afterwards. But there, I would say coming on the journey of the wheel is super, super powerful, in a way to get to know the archetypes as they are activated by the sun and the earth, which are the stronger, like that's 70% of the neutrino. So yeah, and actually, would you say something more about actually the actual embodiment course, if people want to jump in for that as well?
Yeah. So what's different about this versus the embodiment course? So we have the doors and they have all the resources and stuff within them, but the embodiment course, it has a deeper teaching associated with it. It has the community calls that we have come together in. It has I know for some of you that have been with us for a while, we had workbooks, we had attunements, those are all within here. So if you go to any of the different archetypes, we're going to have different resources for you. It talks about the codon ring as well. And we have some collaborators that are working with us that actually also bring in different embodiment exercises as well, and essential oils. And some of them have foods that are associated with it. So you're going to be able to find a course that goes along with each of these. And what we have been doing is, we're packing it with information, and every year we're going to bring new stuff to it so that you can embody these archetypes. For a while, they've been $44 to get it, and you get it forever. But what we're realizing is that we're going to be adding so much to this every year, and this is going to continue for as long as we can foresee. So by next year, it's going to actually be a subscription. So you're going to pay for a year, and then every year it's going to, you're going to have to pay again, because more resources will be added. So if you are interested in any of these, you're going to want to buy them now at this price, because it's lifetime access. And we'll talk about this again, but this is the first time we're introducing it in this way. So I would love for you guys to get it at $44 and have access to it. So we have like 22 days left in this year, and then in January we're gonna adjust the price, and it's gonna become a yearly subscription for each of these. So I would love for you to get in on it now, and we'll give the links to that if you're interested in a particular archetype. Let us know what your incarnation cross is. Let us know what your activation sequence is. Like, put it in the chat and let us know, and we'll send you the link to the doors so that you can get to know them and stuff. But there's a lot for you here. So thank you so much for joining us. Bye, everyone.